Okay, guys, welcome back to the podcast. We are here today to bring a special guest. We got Mr. Wayne over here.
Hi, guys.
Okay. Also,
I'm not the special guest.
oh no, well maybe it's who's this guy?
This guy. This guy. Everybody knows this guy. No,
Who's
this
that?
this is Mr. Jason Holton. Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Jason Holton,
Yep.
president and founder of Twisted UTVs. We recently decided to pull the plug on it. It's just too big.
Okay, next up, who do we have?
Mike Cole. I came down here. I met Jason. We both have talons. We ride the tires off.
You got talking to the mic.
One fist.
Yeah.
One fist, he says. Yeah. So I've met Jason. We just drive the tires off our talons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, Jared, would you like to introduce yourself today? Let everybody know who you are.
absolutely. Hey guys, so I'm Jared Doster. I'm the owner and founder of Texas Tough Customs, and we specialize in building suspension kits, rock sliders, bumpers, and everything for Honda Pioneer 1000s and Talons.
What made you want to start building those? I mean,
So yeah, it's kind of weird, right? We're in a niche situation in the market, and it all started in 2016. I ended up meeting a guy at a mud park. I was in a Rhino, and my Rhino was broke down, and we were about to leave the mud park, and this guy rolls up that we had been riding with, and he was like, "Hey, y'all want to ride with me?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure. You have enough room in that thing?" Because he was in a Pioneer, and he's like, "Yeah, the back seats fold up, and there's seats in the back." And I was like, "Oh, wow, really?" So we ended up riding around with him the rest of the time at the mud park, and come to find out he was in a Pioneer 1000, and they had just came out. 2016, they just came out. He had one of the first ones in the area, and I was like, wow, this thing's really cool. It really surprised me. The biggest thing was he was like, yeah, there's no belt. It's all shaft driven, and got a dual clutch transmission and all that. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. That really intrigued me. So I did some research on it and looked into it, and literally like 2 weeks later, I went to the Honda shop and bought one. And so, okay, no, now I have a Honda. I got a Pioneer 1000 now. Got the 5-seater. That's cool, but you can't put anything larger than like a 29-inch tire on it. So I start looking for portals and looking for forward arms and all this, and there's literally nothing.
Right.
So back in 2016, there was literally nothing that you could do to put larger tires on a Pioneer, even though it was a 1000. It had the power for it and everything. So I set out to build a lift kit for it. I ended up building a bumper and a cage for it first, and then no portals existed for it yet. So I was gonna build a lift first, and then I was gonna get some Razor portals and do some custom axles, all that stuff. But I ended up building a lift for it, and my goal was to run 32s. So I built a lift, designed it all in AutoCAD, and made sure that it would work with 32s. I bought a set of 32s. I go down to the local shop to pick up the 32s that I bought. I'm putting them in the back of my truck, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, these are big, man. These look really big. Come to find out, they were 34s, and they had shipped the wrong ones. And I bought 32s. I got 34s. I go back in. I tell the sales guys, like, hey, I need, I bought 32s, but they gave me 34s. He was like, man, it's going to be more expensive just to send them back. You won this one. Go ahead and keep them. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went back home, went back to the drawing board, redesigned the lift, and made it run 34s. And so back in like August of 16 or so, I was one of the first people to run something larger than stock, right? And then once we got the bigger tires on there, okay, cool, solve the problem. We can run larger tires. Well, then we figured out the limitation of the dual clutch transmission, and then that's where we went down the rabbit hole of getting the IGR was just now coming out, reduction boss machining. Jeremy Lee was just now doing the IGR for the Pioneers. He had been doing them in the Recons and everything for years, so he was just now making them for the Pioneers. And I found out about him, reached out, got one, and I was probably one of the third or fourth people in the country to have a IGR in the Pioneer. And once we got IGR, that helped. Still needed a little bit more. Finally, Super ATV ended up releasing a set of portals. Got some portals, put some portals on it, and then once I got portals and the gear reduction, it was good to go on the 34s. And that was back in 2016 when 34s were monsters. Right now, 34s are like standard. It's like nothing. So that's kind of like what led me down the rabbit hole of building stuff for Hondas. I knew nothing about like I said, my first side by side was that Rhino. It was used and it was a piece of junk. and I hopped straight to a Honda. So I've never even owned a Razor. I know a lot of guys that's their gateway drug is a Razor, but I never did Razors, just that Rhino, and then hopped onto the Pioneer and haven't looked back since. So that's kind of what got me into it. And then, obviously building off the success of the first lift that could run larger than stock. We were on 34s on our 3-inch kit. Then I ended up developing a long travel kit that actually increased the wheel travel and drastically increased the ride quality. And then the long travel kit was just a game changer, especially for guys that wanted to do rock crawling and stuff like that. And then that really put us on the map because that really offered something completely different. And then, building off of that success, kept building bumpers and rock sliders and all that. And all the while I'm building everything on my personal buggy, testing it, taking videos of it, and then posting it so that people are aware of what we do. And then it came to time to move on to the Talons. The Talons came out in 2019. I actually didn't even get a hold to one until probably 2022, 23. No, it was probably 2020, somewhere around 2020, around COVID. And got one and then started developing kits for those guys. And, and then finally, I think it was in 2023, I bought my Talon and actually really started diving in and building rock slide cages.
I think you're cutting out again.
Am I? Sorry about that.
Nope.
Where did you leave off?
No.
Where did I leave?
Nope. And it just started again.
Yeah, it just started again.
So weird.
Yeah,
And y'all aren't cutting out, so I don't think it's my internet connection.
no.
No, it might be the mic on your thing.
Yeah, it might be.
All right. But so in 2023, you bought your first Talon. That was yours. So now you get a chance to really do some more R&D.
Exactly.
You know.
Now, was that an R?
No, it's actually an X, and I specifically bought the X. The R, in my opinion, is a better platform. If anybody's going to buy a Talon, buy an R. But
unless you're going to customize it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, even then, even if you're going to customize it, go with an R because I bought the Talon X specifically because nobody really built anything crazy for it, and the biggest reason is because the suspension really sucks on the X's. They're super rough. Even if you soften up the suspension, even if you take some of the preload out, they're just really rough. So I set out to see if we could work our magic and do what we did for the Pioneer on the Talon X. And I don't think we did as good as the Pioneer, but we definitely have helped quite a bit. And so our long travel kit for the X is a game changer. It does increase the travel. It widens it to the width of an R, maintains all of the X rear spindle and rear geometry, but it's just the width of an R, and you run R axles. And then it pushes the front wheels forward, depending on the year model, but for all practical purposes, it pushes the front wheels forward about 6 inches and pushes the rear wheels back about 3 inches. On the Talon X. So,
okay, and does that depend on the live valve or?
It will work on the live valve, yeah.
Okay, so like for instance, I have a 22 two-seater X non-live valve because I bought it and knowing that I was going to end up changing that out, so I didn't want to pay extra for the shocks and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the live valve. I've ridden in a couple of them, and truthfully, like most of the guys I ride with that do have the live valve, none of them work. They've all either broke something or it stopped working, and they just keep the light on and they keep trucking. So truthfully, I'm not really a huge fan of the live valve, and I wouldn't, recommend people to buy one. Not that it's not a good system. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But for the type of riding that I do, in particular, low rock crawling, the live valve just doesn't make any sense. Also, with mine, mine's a non-live valve, obviously, and with mine, I'm running our hydro steer kit on it as well. And with our hydro steer kit, if it was live valve, the live valve wouldn't work anymore, anyways, because of the
steering angle
shaft.
sensor.
Yeah, the steering angle sensor.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, you've got some awesome builds, man. You do some great work. Absolutely. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I love checking you out. Of course, I follow and keep track of what you do, and you're always popping up on my feed.
Yeah, the recommended stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, and Jason just looked at me and smiled. He's like, "Really, man? People are telling you to buy a Honda."
Yeah, exactly.
I had one of the first 2019 X4s in the state of Michigan. I was supposed to have the first one, but dealership undersold me and made me wait a couple more days. But I got like 19,000 miles on that thing now, and it's the live valve. The only time the live valve helps is on the racetrack. Outside of that, it's useless.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I've heard. Yeah, that and
the
fast.
sport mode works great on the track, but other than that, it's useless for trail riding.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So we just set mine up differently when we race. We just suck mine right down, and I think it performs the same way as just pushing his sport button. It's just I just do the tuning.
It's way easier to push that button though.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's only a couple 17 millimeter bolts.
Whatever.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing with like, we don't do. I've never done any racing. Mine, like I said, everything that we build for is geared for slow, maximum articulation, and actually, like, the picture you have of mine in the background, that's on 40s, and those tires they're aired down to, like, I think they're at 4 psi. So when I go down the highway and start, like, going anything above 40, man, it starts shaking and walking everywhere. So
Sure.
It's a handful.
I don't have any experience with the fast stuff.
Right. No, and that's totally different kind of riding, from racetracks to fast sandy trails like we have up here to rock crawling in Tennessee. It's all totally different.
Yep. Well, his rock sliders that he builds will definitely work in the racing for the racing guys without question.
Would have saved him last year.
It would have saved my frame from getting all tweaked.
Yep.
What happened? Did you have a wreck or something?
I got T-boned, and it drove my driver's side lower frame bar in 5 inches.
5-6 inches.
Damn.
Yeah.
If you had the rock sliders, you just could have hit the person and been okay.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'd have bounced off, and you could have kept rolling.
I mean, I did keep rolling, and we do have rock sliders now, but
After that race, we're like, we need double bars.
Yeah.
We're going to hit an anvil if they're going to T-bone us again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
So, quick question for your products that you have. Where can I get them? So I buy a Talon today, because now where am I going to go?
that's the serious.
Best place to go is straight to our website, texastuffcustom.com.
Yeah, so we source out all of our gear reductions. So at the moment, there's 2 different options for gear reductions for the Honda Pioneers and the Talons. The first one is the IGR, which is referred to as the internal gear reduction, and that comes from Reduction Boss Machining. Jeremy Lee over there, he does a great job at doing all that. And then the second, the IGR is going to give you a 25% reduction in forward, reverse, and low gear. So every gear you get 25% in. The second option is going to be the sub-trans low gear only, and that's going to be from Adam Brown. And basically what it does is it gives you a 27.5% reduction in low gear only, and I think somewhere around an 8% reduction in reverse. And you can stack the two, which is what I've done on my my black Talon on the 40s. And when you stack them, then you're running at like 53.5% or so in low gear, and then once you put it in high, you're back to 25%. So I like to support small business. I send anybody who wants gear reduction, I send them straight to the source. If the IGR is right for you, I send you straight to Jeremy Lee with Reduction Boss. If the sub-trans low is right for you, send you straight to Adam Brown. I don't try to take any cuts or do a middleman type deal. So I like supporting those guys. They're doing great stuff. So.
Like, what's the difference, though, in your opinion, to where I should go with the internal gear reduction as opposed to the sub-trans, or like stacking it? What's the benefit of stacking it? Or what do I lose?
So what I usually, not always, but usually, it's weird. It's a spectrum, right? I base everything off worst case scenario, because that's what we do. I do worst case scenario. So if you're going to be running 35s and you're going to be doing rock crawling, I'm going to recommend both of them, right? But let's say you only got funds for one of them. I would probably recommend the IGR first, only because it's going to give you 25% in reverse also, right? Whereas if you do low gear, you're only going to get that 27.5% in forward. And actually, that's what I did on mine. I did low gear first before I did IGR in my Talon. And I was on 35s, 35-inch Rockzillas. We went out to Moab, and it did almost everything I needed it to do. And when there was a couple of spots like Mickey's Hot Tub, where it's a pretty steep climb, I didn't have enough reduction to kind of walk through it and crawl through it like I wanted to. I had to really punch it. I was to the floor, and even then, it was the clutches were having a hard time engaging and actually pulling me through it. So if you're doing that type of riding, I'm gonna recommend both of them. Stack them, get that 57 or that 53.5%. And you're going to be good. And even now, when I put my 35s back on and I go somewhere like Oklahoma up in Crossbar or something like that, the 53% is actually really great even on 35s. So a lot of people worry that it's going to be too low, and it's actually not. On 35s, it's great because you can crawl through the rocks and all that stuff. Switch it back into high, you only have 25%, and you're still good on 35. So I can still hit 60, 70. Well, maybe not 70, but probably about 60, 55, 60 on my 35s with the IGR. But for back to your question, what's right for you? So most of the time, if you don't have the budget to do both of them, I would say do IGR first. Only because, like I said, it gives you that reduction in reverse too. And when you get in a situation, you're not always just going forward. Sometimes you got to get out of the situation, and you need that reduction in reverse as well. So most of the time, I recommend the IGR first, and then if you still need more, then go to the Adam Brown Subtrans Low.
Great info. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I want to try that IGR on the short course.
Yeah.
I never reach fourth and fifth gear.
Really?
No, never. Not on the short course. If I hit fourth gear, it's over.
And what's really cool about Adam Brown, if you haven't heard about him, he not only makes the Subtrans low, but he also makes a higher high. So for like turbo guys and guys that are really that have the power to go faster, or for guys that are already geared super low, you can put a higher high in it so that when you put it in high, it basically can negate the IGR. So you're back to stock gearing if you do run the IGR. But then in low, you get the stacked, the IGR and the Subtrans low, and you get really kind of the best of all the worlds. So if you don't know about Adam Brown, check him out. He's really doing big stuff for the gearing on these.
Yeah, he's been in the Honda world for a while now.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool to
He's
know,
the
though, that
Subtrans guru.
the stacked, if you stack it, you should probably go with the high, too, if you still want to play
Yeah.
around and go fast.
But I don't have enough power to do a higher high on an NA Talon.
Right.
I'd run out of power in second gear then instead of fourth.
So what are you seeing in a lot of your rock crawling rigs? Are you seeing much turbo action, or is it just NA?
Yeah, I don't, and this is based on lack of experience, right? I've never driven a turbo buggy in the rocks. I have driven a turbo buggy. I've driven a turbo four-seater, and dude, that thing was nasty. I was thoroughly surprised at how much power it had, but I didn't drive it at slow speeds. And what I get from that driver, he's a pretty good friend of mine. The turbo doesn't really do anything because when you're rock crawling, you're under 3,000 RPMs, and the turbo's not really doing anything. So you could have all this power from a turbo, but it doesn't do any good if you're rock crawling. Now, when you get out on the trails and start ripping, then it's a lot of fun. But truthfully, like if someone comes to me and they say, I want to build my Talon to do rock crawling, I want to do a turbo, I want to do all this, I'm probably going to try to talk you out of doing a turbo because you don't need it. And unless you're going to be driving it fast all the time, you don't need the turbo. And one of the biggest things is when people call and say, hey, I just bought a Pioneer, I just bought a Talon or whatever it is. And, what should I do? I ask them, well, what type of riding do you do most? And because the biggest thing is what I tell people is you can build a Honda you can build a Talon and a Pioneer to do one thing really great, but you can't build it to do everything great. You're going to have sacrifices just because of the way it's geared and the dual clutch transmission and all that. So I always ask them, what do you do most? Do you do mostly slow, thick mud riding? Do you do mostly slow rock crawling? Do you do mostly high speed trails? And then that starts the conversation of what size tires, what size gear reduction, what lift, like, do you need our full kit? Do you need just the front? Like, I'm all about trying to get people into the best situation for them, and if they don't need our full kit, I don't try to sell them our full kit. If you just need front, zero arms, if that's going to suit your riding style, that's what I'm going to talk you into, And actually just last week I had a guy call me and he was like, all right, I got this cart set up, and he sent me pictures of his cart and he had all this stuff in there. And I'm like, you got like a $10,000 build here. I'm like, you don't need half of that stuff. Let's take some of that out. Like you don't need our full kit. You need just the fronts. Based on what you're telling me, the type of riding you do, this is all you need. So I'm all into tailoring our kits and making a situation for the particular riding style and budget that the customer's calling about. So
nice. Very nice.
That's what I think is cool about you guys is you do you have experience in it, obviously, and you
Yeah.
do tailor to fit.
Yeah.
So from my experience, I went from a turbo razor. Instantly, I had to have a turbo, so I bought a 20 turbo Talon 2-seater.
Yeah.
And I absolutely despised it. I hated it.
Really?
The difference between a turbo on a belt rig to the turbo on a dual clutch transmission rig, it was always upset when it was coming into turbo. And for my riding style, I instantly went right back to an NA Talon. I have a 22. I mean, I just didn't love it for how I rode.
Yeah. That guy I was telling you about with the 4-seater, with the turbo on it. I asked him, I was like, do you like it? Do you love it? And he was like, man, honestly, if I was going to do it again, I would not do it. And his main thing was, because it gets so hot. He's running, I think he's running both radiators. I can't remember, but he has an extra radiator in the back. And he said, dude, I have he put he put heat shield like everywhere in it because it gets so hot. His back passengers can't even ride like in the summer and stuff. And even in the front, so that's what he did. He deleted his front radiator is what he did because the front radiator was pulling so much heat. It was just like cooking them in the summer. And he was like, yeah, just like, and it was just, as soon as I put the turbo on, everything got hotter. And so he was like, if it was up to me, I definitely wouldn't do it again. That being said, riding in that thing is a lot of fun. That 4-seater has got way more ass than my 2-seater does. And it's pretty impressive. So
I bet. Well, I did hear through the grapevine, Honda is working on an electronic supercharger.
Because it can't be belt driven.
Yep.
yeah, you can't put a belt on it.
That would be sweet. I mean, I wish they could figure out how to pipe it through the cover somewhere. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
heard.
I actually, so it's funny you bring that up. It's going to be, so I just came out. So, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. So I don't know if y'all know or not, but we're the only company offering hydraulic steering for these Pioneers and Talons, and it is an absolute game changer. So I've been doing that for the past, 2 years or so. And on the Pioneers, it works well, but we're using an electric hydraulic pump, and that electric hydraulic pump pulls so much current. You have to run a dual battery, and even then on the Pioneers, it's hard to keep it. It's hard to keep it happy with the voltage. Sure. On the Talons have a stator that puts out slightly bit higher because, and I don't know for sure, but I think it's because of the electronic clutch in the 4-wheel drive. The electromagnetic clutch. I think that's why they have a bigger stator on the Talon. But the Talons work great. No problems. We run dual battery on the Talon, run the electric hydraulic pump. Everything's happy. It works fine. I've had mine in my buggy all over the country for the past 2 years and haven't had any issues whatsoever in it. Whereas on the Pioneers, like I said, we run into that voltage draw. So I set out to figure out a way to run a mechanical pump. And actually, I just last week or the week before, I just installed a prototype, and I basically I have a shaft that comes out of the sight hole where the flywheel is, and that shaft connects directly to a mechanical hydro pump. So I'm driving a mechanical hydraulic steering pump basically off of like a car. It's a PSC pump, but basically it drives off of the motor, and it's been working perfect. It actually creates way more pressure than the electric pump, and I don't have to deal with any electronics. And so on the Pioneers, it's great. And it's going to save the electronics. We're going to be able to create the volts aren't going to change at all. It's all motor driven. The cool thing that applies to this conversation, and that's the backstory. Now, moving forward,
I know where this is
how
going.
can
we could run a pulley
shaft?
off of the shaft.
Exactly. How can we use this shaft to put a supercharger on it, or a shaft-driven turbo, or whatever, right? So the problem is going to be though, because I've been talking to my machine shop about the implications of what this shaft can power. And I was like, what do you guys think about, instead of this direct drive to a mechanical power steering pump, what if we directly drive it to a turbo? And he's like, well, it would be no problem. We can make it work. The problem is turbos have to spin at like 16,000 RPMs to make power. And that's something that I actually had no idea about. And which is one of the reasons why I really love my machine shop. They know about so much stuff, but so he was like, yeah, that would be the problem. And then I was like, okay, well then all we need to do is make a gearbox, right? If we can make a gearbox, or even if we did run a belt, we could gear it in such a way where we could put a turbo. Now, on the Pioneers, there's plenty of room under the seat to do all this, because that sight hole that I'm talking about is right under the seat. And I don't think there's going to be many Pioneer guys really putting a supercharger on it. While there might be a couple, it's probably not super epical.
That would be epic.
Exactly.
I know a guy.
But,
I'd try it.
Yeah. So I really want to get into getting this applied to the Talon. The problem is where that sight glass is, there's a cross member right there. And so it would definitely require a new cross member. Now, lucky for us, that cross member is just a bolt-in cross member. It's not something that has to be cut out. It could be unbolted. I could fab up a new one and put a new one in. And I think that we would have enough room for both the mechanical pump and possibly, some kind of a supercharger or whatever. But, like I said, I'm not an engine builder. I don't take engines apart. I don't do mechanical work. I'm a fabricator, and I'm a self-taught fabricator. So I don't do this mechanical stuff. And that's why I try to surround myself with people that actually do know about this stuff. And so that's moving forward. That's going to be on the to-do list, probably more so on the back burner, but it is definitely in my sights to try to see if we can convert this shaft. Because the shaft works, and it pulls straight off the crank, straight off the flywheel. Nice. And how can we turn this into something that can create more power for both the Talons and the Pioneers? So
very interested to see where that goes. For sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't have a video yet, but if you go to our Facebook or Instagram pages, you can definitely check. I just posted a picture of it like last week. I think it was the last thing I posted. But if you want to check out the shaft itself, it's actually when I saw it, it was beautiful because it replaces the cap. So do y'all know what sight glass I'm talking about?
17 mil behind it for doing the timing for the FE.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So you pull that aluminum cap off, and it replaces that cap, and that cap has a bearing in it. So there's a bearing in that cap, and it's a new cap, and then the shaft basically replaces the bolt that tightens the flywheel down. Oh. So you'll tighten the bolt in, and then you'll slide the cap over with the bearing, and then tighten the cap down, where it goes. And now this shaft is spinning in a bearing, and on the end of it, it's threaded. For the specific pump that I'm using has a thread. It's threaded in it. So I super lucked out. But when that flywheel is turning, it's actually turning counterclockwise, which is exactly what I need to mount the mechanical pump opposite of it, because the mechanical pump needs to turn clockwise. So I just lucked out, and it all worked out. So
nice.
This all fits behind the firewall of a two-seater too?
Say that one more time.
So this all fits behind that firewall of the two-seater there?
Talons, I don't know. It's going to be a really tight fit. I haven't gotten a chance to take one apart, because I think I don't know what all's involved in taking that plastic apart behind the seat, behind the lower part of the seat.
It's not terrible.
We did. We just had one apart like literally a day and a half before the ride.
Really? So what all's involved in taking that stuff out?
You just got to pull the seat frames out, and then there's a bunch of push pins, a couple wire harnesses that are bolted in on the driver's side with a Torx bit, and I think a 13 mil or 12 mil. And other than that, it's just a ton of push pins, and the whole lower section comes right out. But you definitely got to take
so it's really not
seat.
that big of a deal. No. It's not like you have to take the side plastics off and everything?
No. It's all done from inside the buggy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So when you took that plastic out, could you see that cross member that I'm talking about right there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, it's in the way when you're trying to do stuff down in there.
Yeah, it makes it a bastard to roll it over, kind of, to get that sight glass for timing. We just put a cam in his 19,000-mile four-seater. We finished it up and loaded it up the next night for a ride.
And that's what you have to do. You have to pull all that plastic to do all that.
Yeah.
In order to get to the sight glass to turn the engine over, then you can
top that center and all that stuff.
The cam cover off to figure out where your FE marks are, your sight glass. It's a pain.
Wow.
But it's worth doing because it runs like a rape tape down.
Yeah, we did it on a Thursday after work.
Yeah, it'd be so much better if they had like a panel right there.
Absolutely. An
instead of having to take the whole thing off.
Yep. Yeah, otherwise you're looking at half hour, 45 minutes to get it all tore apart just to get access to it.
Yeah. And see, that's why I haven't taken it apart, because I don't know what all's involved. And like I said, I'm not the type to take stuff apart. Like, if I have to, I will. Like installing the orbital valve for the Pioneer hydro steer is like one of the hardest things to do, only because you have to take so many push pins out. You got to take that whole dash off and pull it out so you can get access. Luckily on the Talons, it's super easy. You just take the hood and that secondary shroud off, and you got access to everything. But yeah, I don't particularly like taking stuff apart like that, because it's
see, we're opposite. We're more mechanical, but we dabbled in some fab work, but we can crack a weld on our roll bar or on our tree kickers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting though that y'all took that off and that you can see that crossbar, because I think if you could take that cross member out and make a different one somehow to make a little bit of room, I think then that shaft becomes a lot more usable on the Talons.
Yeah, and
there's clearance for that crossbar to come out and then
you could dip it out and around.
Make it more of a U shape instead of straight across.
The 4-seater I feel has more room back there. Honestly,
does it?
It does.
Than my 2-seater, for instance. I feel like my 2-seater, I'm sitting right on top of the engine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
To where his 4-seater, there's a little bit more. There's not a lot more.
Right. It's not like you can't reach through and give a high five.
Right, but there is a little more.
Yeah.
So
that would be definitely the next step for this shaft. I'm super excited to see where we go with this shaft and what we can develop. Like I said, the next step, for a turbo, we would have to have some kind of a gearbox or something. Unless there's a turbo out there that runs,
I'd rather see the supercharger
and boost all the time.
Yeah, I would rather see the supercharger and boost right off.
Because there's already turbo kits out there. Let's not reinvent the wheel on that. Let's get a supercharger.
Well, what I'm saying is a shaft-driven turbo, so it's basically like a Pro Charger on an LS, right? It's belt-driven.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm definitely intrigued, bro. I'm following this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so something for the mechanical guys, I got a question. So if we could figure out a way to turn, let's say a shaft-driven turbo, if we could figure out a way to turn it at enough RPMs to make boost, it's not going to create the same amount of heat, right? Because the turbo cars are making power off of the exhaust, and that creates the heat. Is that true?
Absolutely, you're correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the on a turbo car that exhaust has to pass through the backside of that turbo to get it to spin, to get it to spool, where you're doing it mechanically correct. So the heat would be null and void,
Yeah,
you're not going to build it. Yeah, you're not going to build any heat whatsoever. I mean, extra heat for the most part, but an exhaust-driven turbo, it increases your gas temperatures by like 27%.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Just like on a car. So, and if I have a turbo right behind me, I'm definitely building a lot more. I'm heat soaking that whole entire car.
Oh yeah. You pull the inspection cover on my Can-Am at any given time, and if that whole area is not glowing,
you're not running.
It's not happy. Yeah, it's not.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I said, I don't do a whole lot of mechanical stuff, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I know a little bit. I know enough to get me in trouble, but
That's how I feel about fabbing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing,
just enough to buy a bunch of more tools.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I've fallen down the rabbit hole. Buy a tool, and that opens up my possibilities, and then that opens up the possibilities for other tools.
Yep. So I just need this tool now.
I think the worst thing the first thing that got us in this rabbit hole was a pipe notcher.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what really led to all the.
Yeah.
And then we need a bender, and this bender don't work, so we need this bender, and.
Yeah. So I was opposite actually. My pipe notcher was one of the last things that I've bought because I found a YouTube video on how this old guy was using a damn angle grinder to notch his tubing, and so I started notching with an angle grinder, and then I was running through flap discs, and I'm like, man, screw this. So then I bought a bandsaw. So I bought actually, if y'all are familiar with, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Milwaukee makes a Portaband.
Yeah.
And this other company makes these little stands for the Portaband to sit in. Oh, really? So I use the Portaband in this little mini stand on my bench top, and that's for the longest time. Actually, most of the time when I'm notching, I'll do that instead of actually notching, unless it's like a real critical notch. And so I've been doing that so long now, I can notch like really well with it. But But in the beginning, it's funny. I did not. I was really reluctant to buy a notcher because I was like, well, what do I need a notcher for? I got this bandsaw and I can do 10 other things with this bandsaw. You know, a $300 notcher is going to only notch, you know? So, but yeah, I feel you on the tools, man. I buy all kind of stupid stuff all the time now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just bought a tire changer just cause.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite ones, actually. So obviously I have a plasma table. We cut out all our own stuff, in house, but I have I just recently bought a magnetic like table kind of, it's not a table, but it's like a benchtop magnet. It's a little bit bigger than a computer. And, dude, that thing is great because I can just place little parts on there, turn a knob, turns a magnet on, they stick to the plate, and then I can wire wheel off the slag and like clean up the parts super quick.
Sweet.
I also use a tumbler for like the big batches, but on a small batch, if I need it real quick, I don't want to go turn the tumbler on and all that. So I just put it on this magnet and like scrape it off. And that magnet has been like one of the coolest tools I've bought recently. So
yeah, you don't have to use a clamp or anything. You don't have to do any of those wood clamps or anything like that.
Yeah. And the magnet's super heavy, so it doesn't like slide around on the table. It kind of just sits there, and you turn it on, and it holds the metal there, and you just scrape off the slag, and it works great.
Nice, very nice.
Man, I want one of those now.
Yeah, that would be cool. I want to check it out.
Yeah, I got it on Amazon. Just look up. I don't know. They got a bunch of different ones. I think it was either Amazon or Beaver. I can't remember. Beaver's a rabbit hole too. So
yeah,
I got a Beaver diesel heater on the back of my Explorer.
Always getting notifications from there. Congratulations.
I know, me too. On Facebook, they just pop up all the time. Buy this.
Yeah.
Just block them. That's what I do.
No way. I got to see what they got.
Well, you block your pop-ups on Facebook for a reason, man.
I didn't think we were telling anybody about that.
Shots fired.
If you check out my site, bigdaddy.com.
Big Daddy. Big Daddy.
He also thought this was a foot.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Eyes got big too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's somebody's foot.
Yeah.
So I got a quick question. You ever seen a goldfish fly?
No.
That's over here. This young man over here.
I can make a goldfish fly. My machine's been nicknamed Goldfish.
Nice.
For a pretty good reason.
Why is that? Is it gold?
No, it is gold. It's gold like the color of my hat, but it likes water. Like
Yeah.
It's hydrogen powered sometimes.
It is. This past June, we were at a club ride up in the UP, and I swamped it like 4 feet of water. Stalled out.
Nice.
Had to drag it out. The next weekend, we had a race in Greenville. These guys' race.
Yeah.
And I went down there and won the sportsman's class, but I showed up like 15 minutes before the race. Go to get it off the trailer, and it'll hardly stay running because it's still full of water. It sprayed water all the way through the first turn.
Love it.
He was
I don't know if
launching
y'all-
it.
Yep.
Yeah. Are y'all familiar with Vessel Power Sports?
Yes.
So those guys, their name is Vessel now, but it used to be Honda boats. And they got their name because they're sinking Hondas all the time, and they're driving them around underwater and snorkeled, and like literally the roof is underwater, but the snorkel's just out, and they're just kind of driving around. And,
I'm not responsible enough to put a snorkel.
Yeah, I don't know that I would
Stall when
stop
you get too
before my
deep.
snorkel went under. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I would have to
they've
drag
got
it out
tons
from
of
that much
videos of-
deeper.
Like, I got a key and case of oil at the house. We can just flush all these fluids.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably my favorite thing about the Talons and the Pioneers, all that stuff. The resilience. They really are resilient.
Yeah.
The stuff you can do to them and drive them back on the trailer again, and just blows them. Every time I get out, I'm like, how does this thing just take me kicking its guts out every single minute?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something that I didn't even know about. Like I said, I bought a Honda just because I rode with that guy at that mud park one time. And that's something that I learned along the way, that Honda's got a name for reliability, which is something I didn't know of, in the beginning. And it's crazy because like I wasn't really born a Honda guy, but I'm definitely true Honda now. And all the things that I've learned about the people that buy Hondas and all kind of stuff, like it's just been a really cool ride over the year, over the past few years to, connect with different people and the type of people that buy Hondas and why they buy Hondas and just that reliability marker just always comes out. Everybody, Hondas are not the fastest. They're not the most powerful, but
They're not
Depends on the track.
comfortable. They're not comfortable.
not comfortable.
No.
Exactly, right? They're hot, everything. But
They're a
at the end
driver's
of the
machine.
day, the justification is always, but, it's dependable and it's never let me down. So
Yeah.
that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I've watched these two literally beat the heck out of their Hondas.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, I would have been trailing mine back by now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they definitely take some abuse.
They do.
I mean, I'd like to say we haven't trailered ours back before too, but I mean, they have earned every time they got to ride on
Mine's
the trailer.
been pushed on the trailer
Yeah.
once.
With my bumper. Absolutely.
Our welds held.
The well cells. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, they probably should have got one of your bumpers.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You'll bulldoze through anything with one of our bumpers.
Oh yeah. They're not. They are.
That's what you need for the races right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Push those guys out of your way.
That way it goes through the radiators to get them fuckers out of there.
Yeah.
That's a game changer, see, because we don't have the 280 horse, so I got to be able to use it as a battering ram as well.
Exactly. Rubbin's racing, right?
Right. I think it's great, dude. I really like everything that you're bringing to the table and supporting the Hondas and what you're doing for them. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way cool.
Yeah, I might have to go buy one.
Yeah.
It would be the best decision you made.
No, not yet.
What do you ride?
I have 4 machines right now. I got a Pro R, Pro XP, a 1000 XP, and a Honda Defender.
Can-Am
What's
Defender.
your
Or Can-Am Defender.
Can-Am Defender.
Same thing.
What's your favorite out of the fast ones?
The Pro R. That thing is just
Yeah.
wicked.
Is it?
Yeah, there's no turbo, no nothing. It just gets up and goes.
Yeah.
And I can.
Is yours supercharged?
No.
Done
The reason I ask is because Adam Brown has a supercharged one,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that it's an animal. I've never ridden in it, but I know that it's an animal. I've ridden with him.
Yeah, he's got his kit from Mark Banger from Pandemic Performance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking to Pandemic and we're down there. They were talking about sponsoring us. And we're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
were
they
Twisted
wanted
Club sponsors
they wanted
for
to
a
put
while.
a supercharger on his Pro R bad. I said,
Yeah.
you guys don't follow us, do you?
That's a terrible investment.
Yeah, you're like no. He's gonna die, man. That's they're trying to kill him.
I will do something stupid.
Yeah, we can't put him behind that kind of power.
But-
No way.
I told everybody I'm buying a 4.5-year warranty, so I do not do anything. Once that
Yeah.
warranty runs out, it'll be paid for. I'll buy something different. That one will deck out.
Yeah,
Yep.
So
nice.
So now who's your go-to for tuning?
So my go-to is Florida Cracker Performance Tuning, and I'll tell you why. I've run a couple of other tunes, and I prefer Florida Crackers because of the type of riding. Once again, it all boils down to my type of riding. I don't race, so I don't need a high revving, high shifting tune. I need all of my performance to be in the low gear clutch tuning. So for me, and with my experience, Florida Cracker has a little bit better, more suitable tune for what I do because of his low gear clutching, and he's got a bunch of different options for the low gear clutching. You know, depending on whether you got a big mud tire buggy that you do nothing but mudding in, or whether you're rock crawling or whatever. So that low gear clutching, he increases the clutch pressure at the low gear so that it engages and turns those tires as opposed to slipping it a little bit more until you get started. And for me, that suits my type of riding style a little bit better. Whereas some other tunes that I've ran, they shift too high for my liking. You got to rev them up to six or so thousand, RPMs before they shift. And like, I don't want to have to do that while I'm in the rocks or going from one obstacle to another. I just want it to shift it. I don't know, 3,000-4,000 RPMs, whatever it is, and unless I'm really on it, which obviously makes sense. But, so that's the biggest thing for me. I really support Scott and everything that he's doing, and I think that he's really devoted the time to the low-end clutch tuning, and that's specifically what I hold dear. So
Nice.
That's cool, yeah, because that really makes a difference in what you're doing with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a pretty spicy tune in mind.
Yeah, yours is pretty nasty.
Very spicy. It's a full custom tune, Corey,
Yeah.
PPEI.
Yeah.
And I've communicated with them. I've had that thing retuned. I just tried having it retuned. We were trying to do second gear launches. I wanted to be
Nice.
able to do second gear launch mode.
nice.
They definitely frowned on it, so we didn't do that. So it'd be a terrible financial decision on the transmission, but that was a racing thing that I was looking to do because that would be a game changer for a 100-horse buggy, you know.
To be able to get three car links right out of the gate.
Yeah, to launch in second gear instead of first, because if I launch in first gear, I'm boom, 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 shift.
Right, I'm instantly grabbing second and then going straight to third, and that's about when you run out of power. Whereas if I can launch in second,
that gives me another second to shift.
You guys got to shift those things?
I mean, we have this.
Yeah, dude, they actually,
we don't have to, but
hold on. Yeah, I was about to say we don't have to. It's an option.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I choose at times to shift my buggy.
But almost all the tunes, when you're banging off the rev limiter, it'll bounce 2 to 3 times before it'll upshift. So if you're in a race, you don't want those 3 bounces. You just come off the launch control and then grab second gear instantly. As soon as it starts to flirt with the rev limiter, you grab the next one.
Nice.
Yeah.
And see, that's something that I've had tuned into mine, so it doesn't do that quite as much. It'll go right to the rev limiter, and I'll get a bounce, and then it shifts.
Yep.
Yeah. More than one bounce.
Do you guys?
I'm just wasting time. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys running power adders, or are they stock? Or I know that you were talking about you had a turbo earlier, but
no. So mine is currently the only power adder is my right foot.
Yeah.
It's got a nasty, it's got a spicy tune. It's got different exhaust, custom exhaust.
Yeah. But no cam or head or anything like that.
Negative.
Just did a cam in mine. Went back to OEM cam.
Yeah.
One of the springs on the decomp mechanisms on the cam came shot out. Engine ate it.
Yeah.
So it was just rattling constantly in there. So we pulled the cam out, and put a new one in it, and got rid of the rattle.
Nice.
But it was the day before we left for a ride, so it's like I don't want to change the tune and put a hotter cam in it.
Yeah.
The day before our last club ride, so it's like let's just go stock for now.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing. I mean, you guys are racing these things and they're basically stock. You know, like that's kind of.
I did the Hess Stage 2 kit on another one of my buddies' buggies. He had like 10 hours on it. He's like, man, I need more power. What can we do?
Yeah.
So, you got 2 options: turbo 60% more power, or the Hess Stage 2 kit 30% more power. Do you want to stay on A or you want turbo?
Both.
Yep.
He's like, I want power all the time. So we'll order that Hess kit. So we put that on there, and he's got 9,000 miles on it now. Never skipped a beat, but it's a whole different animal now. Like you can pull the front wheel out of the corner in second gear. Just take it out. It's like, what the shit, dude? Like this is 60% more or 30% more power constantly.
Yeah. I actually did the Hess kit on my Pioneer back when they kind of first came out with all the Pioneer stuff, and when they were first coming out with some of the Talon stuff. And dude, it made a huge difference. It made a huge difference on my Pioneer. Now, once again, Pioneers are not designed to go fast and are not made for it. But I was running my long travel kit. I had the IGR and I had 35s on it, and I put their head cam kit in it, and dude, it woke it up. It was a completely different machine.
Night and day difference machine.
Yeah, and I could hang with sport buggies, no problem. I could run with razors or whatever. Obviously I wasn't going to beat one in a drag race, but on the trails I could hang with them for sure, no problem.
Right on.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, what are you guys offering as far as long travel kits for the Talons?
So the kit that we call a long travel kit, which is I've gone through different stages of what I want to call this thing that we do for the Talon X's, but right now we call it a long travel kit, and it was upon a suggestion from from one of our customers that had it. He was like, man, y'all need to just call this thing a long travel kit. So in the beginning, like I said, I bought an X and I set out to see if we could increase the ride quality and get it to ride smoother and all this stuff for the X platform specifically. So I did that, and I offered the kit and we called it an X to R conversion, but it got confusing because it wasn't really an X to R conversion because it's still an X, right? It still uses the X hubs. It still uses the X geometry. It doesn't use the fourth link. So that was kind of like a weird discrepancy that I didn't like to explain a lot. So then after that, customer called and said, y'all should just call it the long travel kit. And I was like, okay, cool. So we'll call it the long travel kit. Well, what the X long travel kit does is basically it just makes it the width of an R, right? Which is 2.2 inches on each side. So it makes it about 4.5 inches wider. And that 4.5 inches does help a lot with the suspension articulation and the flex. It adds a little bit of wheel travel. And so that's what I call the long travel because it does increase the suspension, flex on it. I think it increases the wheel travel by like 20 or 30%, something like that. I think it's 30%. But so that's what I call the long travel for the X. I don't have a long travel kit per se for the R. Although I am probably in the near future going to I'm going to start working on a long travel for the R. So anytime you do a long travel, like, okay, what does that mean, right? Like for me, because everybody does some kind of a long travel these days, right? For me, I don't consider it a long travel unless it's actually increasing the wheel travel over what it already was, you know?
Right.
So for the long travel on the Rs, obviously we're going to have to get a little bit wider. I'll probably change some of the shock geometry in both the front and the rear. But the biggest thing is if we do that long travel for the R, obviously it's going to get wider. We're going to have to do custom axles. And that's one of the reasons why I tried to stay away from doing super custom stuff, right? Like I know our long travel kit is like kind of super custom for the Pioneer, but it's not, because our long travel kit for the Pioneer uses the same axles as the Super ATV kit. So the axles are always the problem. You can go straight to Super ATV and get their axles for their long travel or for their 6-inch kit, and that works with our Pioneer kit. Same with the X, right? So the Talon X uses the same axles as an R. So there's no custom axles. They're readily available, and you can go buy them, and they're fairly cheap, you know, if you go Rhinos or whatever you want. So that's what I like to try to do. I don't want to design a kit. I'm reluctant to design a kit that requires the customer to get custom axles, because custom axles are expensive. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel
I want to break my axle on Friday and still be up and riding Saturday with a drive. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can take a drive and go get a stock axle or a semi-stock axle and put it back in there and be riding Saturday again. I don't want to ruin a whole entire weekend.
Yeah.
Because Friday night I blew an axle apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the same way, you know, and I feel bad because inevitably, if you design a kit that uses custom axles, there's going to be customers calling you on a Friday night saying, hey, where can I get one of these axles? I just broke one. I'm you know,
at Louisiana
15 hours away from
Mudfest,
home, blah, blah,
where
blah.
can I get an axle right now?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, dude, I can't help you. I don't even keep them in stock. You know,
Right.
It's like you got to get them from Cobra or whoever. You know, so that's kind of the weird trajectory of the long travel stuff. Is I try to use things that already exist so that you can go find it and it's readily available. So for the R, the next stage would be, you know, to design a long travel kit for the R. We're definitely going to have to use custom axles, which is something I'm not necessarily looking forward to. But the HCR kit already does it. So there are HCR kit axles out there that exist. So I don't have to just create some random number, you know, and say, oh, let's take a stock R axle and make it 4.25 inches or whatever it is. I can order a set of HCR axles and then just design my kit around that width. And then, you know, and then we have a feasible design and path forward.
The
So
HCR kit, does this still have any, you just change out the center axle shaft? You still use the stock inners
Still
and
use
outers?
it.
yeah, and that's another thing I don't like about it, is because, like, me personally, once again, I'm not a mechanic, and I hate pulling axles apart. They're greasy,
Yeah,
they're
it's
dirty.
terrible.
I'll throw it in the trash
It's
and
the
go buy a
worst.
Chinese one.
And so,
put the whole thing
yeah,
in.
so I don't want to sell a kit to someone and say, hey, you have to go like
Some assembly
run your-
required.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, assembly required. Yeah, exactly.
some assembly
I
required.
don't like to do that. So if I sell a long travel kit, you're going to get the full axle. We're not going to play this whole use your stock shit, you know, and make it work. Like I just don't like doing that. So
Well, that would be cool too, because it would also increase what we could do to the X. I mean, because if you're going to take an R that you're going to do a long travel kit, now we can take the X and make it longer.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a direct correlation, because so on the buggy that you have in the background, that is an X buggy, but that particular buggy has R suspension in the front. So it's on our X long travel kit. So it's the width of an R, but the front, I went a step further and actually took the X shocks off the front, and I'm running R shocks on the front with our R kit. So really it's only a change on the top upper arm. It's just different arms and then longer shocks in the front. Still running the X shocks in the rear, but by running the R's up front, it just gives us a little bit. I think it's like 2 inches more travel or something like that in the front. So it just helps just a little bit more. And so if we run that kit and we're, say, 4 or so inches wider than that, then our suspension articulation increases. The ride quality is very likely to increase as well. And it's just a win-win for everybody. And like I said, if we do it for an R, it's going to directly relate to an X. I just got to modify the jig slightly and make that rear arm come out a little bit more, and then longer radius rods in the rear, and it's easily converted to the longer, our long travel kit. So then I got to find out another name for that second long travel kit, right?
The turbo long, the super
ultra long.
Yeah, the super duper.
Yeah, that's just
a real long travel kit.
That's the
exactly.
The TTC.
Yeah,
the Big Daddy is what it is. Yeah. You know.
Well, that's funny too because we also have XL kits, right? So we offer our, like, we got some really long names on our website. It's like we'll have the TTC 3-inch XL long travel kit, right? And so what the XL kits are is for the big mud guys that are running big portals and like 50-inch tires and 44s and like all these huge tires. We make everything out of extra thick tubing. So we run 1.5 inch quarter wall tubing for those big guys and ball joint deletes and all this stuff. And so we have our XL kits, and our XL kits are basically our ball joint deletes with all the thick tubing. So it gets super confusing, and I'm like, what do I call all this stuff? Like, to make it make sense and to make it still like
to build a package for it. Like, what's the name of that package that comes with all this stuff incorporated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it's been it's fun, man. I'm living the dream over here. Like, I get to do exactly what I want to do every day, which is design and build new shit for cool off-road buggies. You know, I mean, that's
cool.
What can you ask? You know, what more can you ask for? So
that's the dream for sure. I like your picture. It all fits. It's the dream.
Yeah.
So you guys do a lot of rock climbing then? Is that, I remember you talking about? So where do you guys like to go for that?
So we drive all over the country. Like I said, like we were talking about in the beginning, my closest spot is Hidden Falls up in the Austin area. And that's still like a 4.5 hour drive from where I'm at. And that's the closest spot. I'll go there to do testing and stuff like that. But one of my favorite, I mean, obviously Windrock is one of the tops. I really love Moab. I've been to Moab a handful of times, and I come from a Jeep background. So I've been to all these places in a Jeep and in my side-by-side. And at first I thought that I preferred my Jeep, but now my side-by-side will go way more places than my Jeep will.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Way more
and I've got a pretty built Jeep, you know, but Windrock, Utah, we go up to Crossbar in Oklahoma. That's a great spot to ride. I have not been to Disney, Oklahoma yet, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. I'll probably be going this year at some point. Obviously,
they got
Windrock.
an event going right now, don't they, at Disney? Or they just
say it again?
Don't they have an event going right now at Disney?
I don't know if it's right now. I think it was last weekend. They had the big meet run last weekend where all the big rock crawlers go out and compete and they race. They always have Ultra 4 races out there and stuff like that. Crossbar also holds Ultra 4 races and everything. So
that's what got me in side-by-sides is rock bouncing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, the rock bouncing side-by-sides are nuts.
Yeah.
They're nuts.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, also... what is it? Hot Springs up in Arkansas. That's a really great spot that we love to ride. That's like I think it's like a 6, 7, 8 hour drive from where we are. So it's not that bad of a drive.
Yep.
But yeah, man, we travel all over the place and go ride. So, you know, where do we like to ride? Everywhere. Anywhere someone's riding and they tell us, hey, come ride. We'll be going to the Pioneer Takeover. When is that? The end of April, I think, is when it is. Yeah, will y'all be there?
At Royal Blue?
No.
Hey, Ride Royal Blue. Yeah, Ride Royal Blue.
We just
for
were
the
there in
Pioneer
October.
Yeah, we went down to Royal Blue in
I'll be
October.
bringing both my Pioneer and my Talon, so we'll be out there riding. My wife also drives, so she'll be driving one of them. So,
Hope you guys
we like to ride everywhere.
Yeah, I laid my Talon over on its lid 4 feet from an 800-foot drop-off.
Yeah, over there on Widowmaker.
Widowmaker.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's at Ride Royal Blue?
Yeah, at 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's between Royal Blue and Windrock.
Creek,
It's over on, it's not quite Tackett Creek's the other side. This is down on the west side of the highway over by Caryville. So it'd be just north of Caryville Flats from Windrock.
I've never ridden Ride Royal Blue. Like I said, I've been to Windrock a couple times, and I've been to, there's another place over there just north of Alabama. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but there's a handful of areas. I've been in that area multiple times, but I've never been in
Tackett Creek's way better than Ride Royal Blue. Royal Blue's okay, but Tackett Creek's 10 times better.
Super cool, yeah.
Tackett Creek's more...
How far is it away from Royal Blue?
15, 18-mile road ride.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So it's in the area.
We stayed at Royal Blue, and we did all the rides all over.
Yeah, we rode all over Royal Blue the first couple of days, just making everybody's feet wet. Like, hey, how much of a bitch are you? Like, you a puss? And
Yeah, we did the day rides for everybody to join, and then we took off on night rides.
Them fucking pussies were like, you're crying on some blues and reds, dude. Like, we got blacks and double blacks coming.
Yeah, when we laid my buggy over, it was 1:30 in the morning. And there was only 3 of us still riding.
Yeah. So is Tackett Creek like another park or a trail system, or how does it work?
A trail system, right?
The same permits that you get for Ride Royal Blue through the TWRA, non-resident. In July it changes, but now it's 93 and 72, I think, is the permit numbers. But it gets you access to all the state land, so it's just one person per machine needs it, and you can head over there and ride all day long, all night long.
Ride all over out there, yeah.
Cool. Heck yeah.
But yeah, your Royal Blue, the permits you buy for riding at Royal Blue will cover you for going over to Tackett or down to Widowmaker, Sand Caves, and all that, which is just southwest out of Royal Blue.
Yeah, like I said, I've never been to Royal Blue, but I'm looking forward to doing it. Whenever it comes
they got
up
some
here.
very cool things to ride there.
Yeah, it's a fun park. Like you can spend a day at Royal Blue, and then you're like, all right, I'd like to go try.
I want to do the Outlaw.
Right.
I want to do the Outlaw Trail
because Royal Blue's mostly mud with some rocks, whereas Tackett Creek's all rocks with a little bit of mud.
But it's at the bottom of the rocks to make it really super slippery and an absolute pain.
But like you get to drive up waterfalls and down waterfalls, and that's like all the good shit.
And that's at Tackett Creek, the waterfalls.
Yeah. There's a couple waterfalls at Royal Blue, depending on if it's rained recently, but Tackett Creek's 10 times better than Royal Blue.
Definitely recommend going to No Business.
Yeah, definitely want to go
No
business at Tackett Creek. Wolf Pen.
Yep.
And these are specific trail names.
Yep.
Slate Rock, that's the big
Slate Rock is the
like
rock that you see
slope.
everybody doing pictures of or whatever, where they just start and that's a nasty hill. I mean, the videos do it absolutely no justice. When you stand next to it, and the first hump is 5.5 feet up.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to sit there and burn my tires off to get them hot and dry before I made an attempt at it.
Yeah, we got to get back down there.
It's
Yeah, dude. If y'all, keep me in the loop, keep me posted. Anytime y'all are doing a group ride or anything, let me know. And like I said, we travel, man. I travel. I won't shake a stick at doing a 15-hour road trip. So if y'all got something going on, definitely keep me posted. I love.
Well, there is
going and riding.
One requirement: you got to wear a thong.
Oh, good.
Nothing
I wear a
else.
thong every day, so we're good.
Yeah, you don't want to get everything all cinched up in weird spots.
Yeah. We want to keep your clothes clean.
Yeah. You do so much seat time. I don't want anything riding up.
Yeah. Just to let you know.
Sure.
Really, that's Jason's only rule.
Yeah, that's a Polaris thing.
It is. That's funny how that works, too.
We got to take him to a Honda event so that way he sees what real men do.
Is there like a pre-ride inspection or something? Like, how do we check that everybody's got the thongs on?
Oh, that's all you're wearing?
No, don't.
That's a Polaris thing,
all
though.
you wear.
That's just
Don't.
There's no hiding.
Don't mention pre-ride inspection. He's going to be the inspector.
You'd be like, tech inspection over here, please.
Well,
Everybody cough.
the only thing I can say about the Honda is this cord rubbed on his leg, and he thought it was me.
I wasn't sure because he's a Polaris guy, so I didn't know where to go. Like,
He's like, this is kind of awkward, but he's smiling and winking. So
He was smiling.
I was the guest.
saw
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where we were going with
I
this.
saw a little drool too.
Yeah.
Well, he seen the casting couch, and he was kind of worried.
Yeah, well, we weren't sure what we were in for, I guess.
What are we using here?
Oh, trust me, we've been doing this for 16 weeks, and I still don't know what I'm in for.
Right.
Open that door. So,
That's great.
yeah.
So, what other questions you guys have? Anybody?
Okay, you guys got anything else for Jared?
Oh, dude, I think he's answered all my questions. Honestly, I just hope you know.
Sounds like a
we
fantastic product. And
yeah.
I look
We
forward to
appreciate
checking it
everything
out.
you're doing for the industry, especially in the Honda stuff. Dude, rock on. I think it's sweet that you're giving us an opportunity to get to ride with, these Polaris and Can-Am guys, too.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that.
Because we pick on them, but they are fast.
Yeah. Well, and they have the suspension. I mean, we are.
Yeah.
We're just built to ride. We're not fast. We're not comfortable.
But driving a Honda versus driving a Can-Am or a Polaris belt machine,
yeah,
it's like playing video games with one hand in the Polaris or the belt machine versus both hands and
having
your
an
feet
F1 steering wheel system.
and the Talons. I'm excited to try a Maverick R to see if it has the same chassis control as the Talons do with the CVT, but I'm
Yeah,
not
dude.
sure
Have
because
y'all
of how
seen? Did y'all
soft
see
it
that?
is.
Did y'all see that video? That 4-seater, he strapped on 44-inch boggers.
He's got
and then
60s.
He's got 60s on it now, climbing the side of
and then
a
put 60s on it.
container.
Yeah.
That thing's wicked.
It's nuts.
Dude, it was super wicked. I'm really impressed with it, and it climbed up that
Shipping
that loading
container.
dock.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow.
Well, now I'm kind of embarrassed. I just got the Pro R. I got the 13-inch wide tires, the mud tires for it. Now I don't even want to put them on there.
Yeah.
They're 35s, but 13, like they're 13.9 wide Jeep
Nice.
tires.
Yeah, but it's cold here in Michigan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we
Well,
can say they're
So
bigger.
13's like
that's
you gotta
just
compensate.
good.
It's cold there. You
yeah,
gotta
it's cold
compensate,
here.
right?
Yeah.
These are my winter tires. They're a little smaller.
Everything shrinks.
Well, that and Jared, he mentioned it earlier. And of course, Ricky and the boss, he told us when we were down at OPE too. 2-3 years ago, guys, 35-inch tall tires were huge down south, right?
Yep.
And now, if you're not running 50s down south, you're a small tire guy, right? Or I don't know where
It's nuts.
the line is.
It's really nuts.
today, but that bar gets raised daily, because the tires are just growing.
So I have
Luckily-
a 1,000-horse nitrous mud truck too that I quit running 2 years ago because it got ridiculous. My cut 44s, we're not doing anything because everybody's got 16.9s and stuff now. It's not even fun for me to go to like these backyard bogs anymore. It's an absolute waste of time.
Yeah, but Michigan though, still 35s are a big tire in a side by side. I mean, that's,
in a side by side, absolutely.
that's a big tire in a side by side yet. So we're not quite there yet.
We don't have the mud up here like they do down there. We got sand and stuff. Speaking of which, so what's this riding on state land down there like? Like up here, we have 10,000 miles of forest roads and seasonal roads and 2 tracks. Is there anything like that down there?
There's not much state land at all. There's a national forest close to me that you can ride in, but you can't take side by sides. There's a width restriction of it's basically like a 4-wheeler is the widest you can
50
take.
inches
So
or
to
so.
my knowledge, there's no like public land other than there's like 1 or 2 parks that are like city owned that you can go to, but they're kind of small. It's like no real point in doing it. But all of the big parks are all privately owned, and usually it's like a ranch or somebody that they've had it in the family forever and they've turned it into a park or whatever. So to my knowledge, there's not really any just like free range land like out in the BML land out in Utah. They just have the same state land. You can just go ride.
Yep.
I don't think that we have anything like that. If you try to do that shit in Texas, somebody's gonna find you with a shotgun. Like it's, you're on someone's property. Like someone owns everything in Texas somewhere.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I heard about down there. I went down to Rednecks to Paychecks, but it was like 1,200 acre park, so I never ventured out of it.
Yeah.
But the locals that I
First of
talked
all,
to said
Rednecks
that.
with Paychecks is like one of the most ridiculous events ever. So please
Yeah, it
don't
is
judge
too. It
Texas
is a
by
great
that.
time.
Yeah, please don't judge us by that. That's not one of the ones we're proud of.
Well, we do got to get down there because Mark just bought that park, General Sam,
Yep.
Yeah,
and he has that Talon. Is it Talon or is it a
Yeah, that's a Talon.
Talon?
Yeah, Big Pepe or
Yeah.
or little Pepe.
the big one.
big
yeah.
one?
Yep.
I think
I know
he
what
has
you're
like
talking about.
70-inch tires. I don't know, something
Yeah.
huge.
I think so. I think one of the guys that helped build that or did build it, Chad Mayer. I actually just recently met him at an off-road event at Crossbar, actually up in Oklahoma, and he helped build that thing. Sorry, I'm trying to charge my phone. It's going low. But I've seen that thing in person a couple of times. And dude, that thing's massive. All hydro, rear steer. Obviously, it's basically a mega truck.
Yeah.
But it has a
with a Talon on it.
Honda Talon motor in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just the reduction is all it is. It's reduced, and the Honda Talon motor is what's running it, and it's like super great.
Yeah. Well, and here's the best part is it's all running off from the front drive shaft. So they're running the front drive shaft to a drop box,
really?
that goes down and runs their drive
To an
shaft for
SCS
their,
box
for
or
their
something like
diffs.
that. Yeah, something like that.
It's just
Exactly.
it's just a huge drop box.
Yeah.
Is all it is.
Yeah,
Like
we've
a
seen that.
monster truck.
Yeah.
But the rear diff is still up and in that machine. Remember, Jason? I looked up in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, the differential's still up inside this
They're
thing.
just not utilizing it at all.
Oh,
They
it's
just left it there.
Yeah, it's just sitting up there. Yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
when we get down there, we're gonna come to his park. He said we could drive it.
Yeah,
so it'll be my first
Oh, cool.
Honda Talent that I've drove.
Yeah,
Yeah, it needs to be the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's massive. It's so cool to look at, and you can sit in the tires and stuff. Like it's it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw that in person at the OPE. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where I saw it. Not this past year, but the year before at OPE.
Nice.
We'll be back down there again next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, are y'all going to? Are y'all doing the other one that Jason is running? I'm blanking.
No. It's the
Offroad-
second or third year doing it. Yeah.
The Offroad Products Expo. Right.
No, not
No, that's OP.
that's OPE is Shane.
Yeah. That's Shane.
Shane. Yeah. What's the other one that Jason's running?
I don't remember the name of that one yet.
Oh.
We're supposed to be getting him on the podcast.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm so horrible with names and everything. But we'll be there.
You can just call me Daddy.
Exactly.
You walked right into that one.
Oh, great.
Let me take that one back. I apologize.
The Power Sports Expo. Power Sports Expo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be at that one. They're changing venues this year, and the venue really looks super cool, looks super badass. So that'll be actually our first expo that we'll be a part of. I was actually going to be a part of the OPE last year, but I ended up just dragging my feet and didn't make the registration and all that. But I really want to be a part of OPE this upcoming year.
We registered a week out.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
I dragged my feet, and it was like happening that weekend, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I forgot."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where isn't the other one in Oklahoma or something? Or where is his?
Not that I know of, but probably.
No,
I
where's
don't know.
Jason's at?
Say it again.
Where's Jason's at?
Let's see. I think his is in Oklahoma. Where is it gonna be at?
Yeah, I think it's 13 hours for us to get to the last one.
Yeah, it's Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably another 13, 14 hour drive.
Is it? That's how
Yeah.
far away you guys are.
Yeah.
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 And where are you guys located right now?
Michigan?
Central Michigan. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, nice cold weather. Not for me.
It's like 95 out.
Yeah. Heat wave today. I think we hit 41.
Yeah. With some
Nice.
rain and some wind.
But
and-
there's no dust.
yeah, there is no dust. That
Or
is,
snow.
Lots of wind.
That's a plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
No dust is a plus. We got
Yeah.
a bunch of dust.
I'll take
Tumbleweed
snow
and
dust
everything.
over dirt dust any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst thing about like when we go to some of these off-road parks, even the like rock parks, is some of the trails are dirt, obviously, and when you get a bunch of people out there, it throws up a lot of dust. So then your eyes are covered, and then your eyes start like bleeding right in the corners because you keep wiping the dust away. And so like that's one of the worst parts about riding here in Texas is the dust. But if you wear goggles, like you'll be fine. But yeah, the dust sucks.
Yep. It does.
it's hard on everything too.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you go with like a pre-filter or something like that, especially in the Hondas, for instance, with their terrible filtration systems.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to run a
filters-
pre-filter on mine. I haven't done that yet, and I need to put it on both of them.
Yeah, the filters are just so expensive because you go OEM, otherwise they don't last anyway, and they're just it's just a horrible system. Why would you put the inlet in the passenger rear wheel? It's just something that has boggled me.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird design.
Well, I don't have anything else. You guys have anything? You?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Okay. Last question I have. So I need to know. I'm just gonna edit. So right here, I'm just gonna ask you a quick again for they know the websites and all that stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So I always ask a couple times, but I'm not special. Well, I am, but
That's
Okay.
what he was told.
yeah. So the question I got. Okay. So what is your Facebook and where can they go get the parts? What all the stuff that we just got done talking about, the great long travel, everything else that we need.
Yeah, so you can find us on Facebook. Just look up Texas Tough Customs. And then all of our parts, everything that we offer is on our website, texastoughcustoms.com. And if you have any questions at all, just give us a call. I always encourage customers to give us a call. Even if you're just kicking tires, like that doesn't bother me at all. We're here to spread information and, create awareness that these Hondas actually are or can be very capable machines. So our phone number is on our website up at the top. It's very easy to find. So if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to give us a call. Once again, TexasToughCustoms.com, and that is spelled TOUGH. If you need anything, just let us know.
Awesome.
Cool.
That's super cool. Now, do I get to talk to you or do I get to talk to sales staff?
So contrary to popular belief, we are a very small, tight-knit group of guys. If you call the number, it is my personal cell phone number. You were going to talk to me every single time.
Don't tell him that. He's going to be sending you some pictures.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I get pictures all the time. I get calls and pictures at every hour of every day on a Sunday. At 4 a.m. Like, I've had drunk guys break some shit at like 5 a.m. and call me, and I'm sleeping on the couch with my wife. We fell asleep watching TV or something, and I answer. I'm like, hello, what is it? Because I don't know what's going on because I just woke up, and they're drunk as shit and telling me that they just broke an axle. What do I need to do? And I'm like, bro, what? It's 6 a.m. Come on. So, yeah. If you call the number, you're going to speak to me every time, and that's how it's always going to be.
That's super cool. I really dig that.
You know, I take care of everything. Like, I run this business. I am the accountant. I am the website editor. I am the sales team. I am the design team. I am a welder. I'm a fabricator. I literally do all of it. I'm running powder. It's me, and I got, I think, 5 other guys, 4.5. I say half because I got one high school kid that comes in on part-time. So, we're just a small shop. We're just, we're very efficient at what we do. And, we just try to do our best to keep up with all the orders. And we've been very fortunate that we've been making a big splash in the Honda community, and, that we're serving this underserved community. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, if you need anything tested, probably these 2 yahoos right here. You ever need something really tested?
Limits of expectations.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably do that for you. But we'll definitely spread it. We'll spread your word, everything about you guys are here.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you guys having me, man. It's been great. I love talking to like-minded people. Love talking to other off-road enthusiasts, and it's been really great. And if y'all ever need anything at all, don't hesitate to let me know.
Awesome.
And if we come down to Wind Rock or that area somewhere, we'll let you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anytime y'all go riding somewhere, just let me know, and I'll try my best to meet y'all out there, and we'll make a group ride of it.
That
sounds
sounds
awesome.
great.
I don't think Michigan riding would quite be your thing because of all the sand and high-speed riding, but anytime
We can go South Tennessee, Kentucky, somewhere's in there and meet up. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
How far of a drive is that, Tennessee area?
8.5 hours?
8.5, 9 hours.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Oh,
But we
it's
could get
definitely
Alabama Al to come up with
Garage Hack Fab, Alabama Al. We met
got a
him
really
down
nice
in Tennessee.
talent
Yeah, he's got a dope talent.
35s on it. He's got stacked IGR and sub-trans gear reduction. Real nice looking talent. Beautiful wife, too.
Super smoking hot wife.
Cut.
And she's not dumb.
She can drive, too, yeah.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Jared.
Great talking to you.
That was nice
Y'all have a
meeting
good
you,
one.
Jared. Yeah, you
Thanks,
too.
Jared.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, guys. Woo. How do you guys feel?
I'm still alive.
Tons of info, dude. I got to hear a lot of stuff from somebody that's big but small in the industry. I really dig the fact that he's making such a huge splash, doing a lot of stuff for Honda, but is really a small shop. I think that's super fly.
Answers the phone, builds the parts, fills the orders, paint, powder coats the parts, does the whole shebang. That's really cool.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
And he took the time to actually talk to us and give us a lot of information.
Yeah, no, that was super cool.
I'm not even a Talentland guy or a Honda guy, but this is really cool. I mean, I learned a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and not that the Honda owners are a small niche portion of the industry.
No.
It's just for some reason, none of these aftermarket companies have really picked up the Honda.
Yeah, they haven't given us the love that they've given the Can-Am or the Polaris, for instance. It's just cool to see him jump in there both feet. And
way cool.
I like it.
And let's face it too, it takes something like that to be able to spawn other people to
draw
copy
other businesses
and reproduce and compete, So
Oh,
yeah, no, it's a great thing.
Well,
killing it down there for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming out.
Hey,
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
having us.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
Yeah, I had an awesome time. Thanks for the invite, guys.
Yeah.
Yep. I won't rub your leg anymore today, but tomorrow maybe.
We're changing seats next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
He ain't no good at handies. He got rough hands.
Oh no, you
He got
get
them carpenter hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want these calluses. Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.